We actually believe it will be because you can't print trillions of dollars. We think inflation's coming. We do. We're borrowing money now. We're borrowing as much as...
Was that the intro, Craig?
No, but it's just funny that we were saying that like a year ago.
That could be fine. We could just go right into talking.
Yeah.
Why does it always have to be, hey, welcome to the Bulletproof Dental Practice
But
podcast?
You just did that. Boom, you just did that. So that is the intro. Boom, done.
No, but actually, I'm glad that you are bringing that up about like our prognostication. Not that we're always right from being financial gurus, and we are not financial gurus. But our ear to the ground is to the ground because you and I do have friends who are in financial sectors, who have been successful in real estate, who've been successful in finance, who are hedge funds managers, the Peter Maluk, like those kind of things. And so sometimes people listening to this like, I thought this was a dental podcast. Well, guess what? You don't live and function your dental practice in a silo. And I know you know that. It's not an echo chamber. It exists. It exists in a macro environment, right? Where there's wars potential. Where there's recessions potential, where there's just, inflation.
Well, dentistry is actually correlated to the S&P. So as the S&P rises, dental practices do better. When the S&P falls and the stock market falls, dental practices do worse. We're fairly correlated. Dental expenditures go in.
Well, I think it's fairly correlated to discretionary income, right?
Right, which is correlated to the stock market.
Yes, when the S&P is going up, even though it's not cash money in they feel quote unquote richer because of the equity that has been gained by that gain. Unfortunately, it doesn't translate until you sell. Just like we were talking before we hit record about the house pricing in Florida, and it's great. Everyone's saying, look at the equity in my house. Florida has gone crazy, but guess what? You don't get to see that money until you actually hit sell. Right. And if you do hit sell, you're probably going to do a 1031 into something else. Right. Buy a different house, it's all going to be relative. So
it's not a 1031 though with the house, but I agree.
Yeah. Sorry, you're right.
And just for the people that don't understand what he's saying, Peter's talking about a very cool loophole in the tax code that's specifically for real estate investors. It's very cool.
What I'm doing right now, as a matter of fact, Craig, first time ever utilizing a 1031 tax-free exchange.
So just to dumb that down, Section 1031 allows for people that have a real estate investment to sell it and not pay the capital gains tax that you would owe so long as you buy another qualified real estate investment. And it's really neat. Not that you're never paying taxes on it, but he's actually taking the proceeds that he would have paid taxes on it, investing it, and then he will make money on that. Yeah.
So for instance, if I bought the building for $500,000 20 years ago and now I'm selling it for $1 million, I don't pay taxes on the $500,000, right? I don't pay taxes on the difference of the basis yet. You get to carry it forward at a 1031 and a tax-free exchange, which is a totally different idea. I thought it was like, I'm just going to do a 1031. You actually have to find a 1031 intermediary. Did you know this?
Yeah, I do. And you have to identify the property at a certain period of time.
Identify the property at 45 days and 6 months. There's a bunch of, and you can never touch the money. I thought it would hit my account and I could hold on to it. Nope. If you touch it, it invalidates it essentially. If you touch,
but essentially, what you got, Peter, just to dumb it down for anybody that might not understand this, you got an interest-free loan from the IRS. You owed that money. Had you not done it, you owe that money this fiscal year. Mm-hmm. Let's just say this next property that you own, and you own it for 20 years. Mm-hmm. The money that the $500,000 you owed in that example will build over time because now you've invested it will grow. So it's a wild instrument. It's a wild thing. I mean, I know there's a lot of people that him and haw over the real estate people, whether it be Donald Trump or whoever is the target, that they exploit the tax code. They don't exploit it, buddy. They don't exploit anything. The tax code is written such that it rewards the investor because the people that wrote the tax code believe that your real estate investment will do more for the economy. Sure. So you're incentivized to hire people, grow businesses, buy real estate.
It's private market stimulus is what it is.
Right. Just like the ESOP, like we've talked about that before, the employee stock ownership program. So when you see a company that's employee owned and the company can actually delegate a percentage of its shares to the employees, and then you can actually put your company in a tax deferred situation where your company will grow into perpetuity without owing federal taxes. because it usurps the tax. It goes around the tax section. So there are things that are available to us, and they're not exploiting anything. It's just
Right.
to take advantage of the laws that are there.
It's interesting, Craig. I'm a good acquirer of things. I am not a very good relinquisher of things. I get very romantic about the things that I own, buildings, and I get romantic about, oh, look at all the memories there, or even Bitcoin. I'm not a very good seller of them. So
you fall in love with your assets.
I do.
Yeah. That's rule number one. I do the
bias.
Same. Yeah. Yeah. You definitely have confirmation. We all do.
Yeah.
I do. I love your assets too. Remember when you wanted to part with one of your buildings, and I'm like, dude,
yeah. And you walked me off the cliff.
I know.
Today,
I wish I didn't.
I think it's important though to talk about, if we're talking about a macroeconomic climate and things that are happening. Obviously, everyone's fully up to speed on inflation, so we're not going to talk about that. But all inflation is unfortunately a tax. And it's a tax on regular living. It's just a hidden tax.
Well, it's a tax on those who don't have assets.
Correct.
Because it's a benefit to the people in the asset class. So when we started hit record here, I was listening to one of our older podcasts. It might have been about a year ago. And you and I are talking about borrowing money, buying assets, inflation's coming. And that's at the time when everybody's like, there's no inflation. There's no inflation.
They were reporting 2%.
People.
You're right. 2%. They were reporting 2%.
They're reporting, and then you were talking about the Chapworth index and the real inflation. And all you and I could do is echo the sentiments of our really smart friends that, hey, you don't print trillions of dollars. And at that time, on the podcast I was referring to, we were saying that 20% of the dollars in circulation were not in circulation a year ago. Now, I don't know, it's 40, 50, right, Pete? I don't even know.
It's 40% of the money supply has been since the existence of time, 40% of the entire US dollars in circulation have been printed in the last 2 years.
Okay, so what we were talking about a year ago,
$10 trillion has been injected.
So we were talking about 4 trillion at that podcast.
Yes.
And we're saying, hey, there's a problem coming. There's a problem coming. And it's not a self-congratulatory thing. It's just that we're blessed in that we have really great friends that know a lot more than we do. And it's like that thing where we say, show me your 5 friends, I'll show you your future. Think about the people in your circle and my circle. And we're watching those people and like, damn, okay, we got to bring this information to the podcast. And so now, I know it felt good for ordinary America to be given stimulus checks, but now that's going to be paid back in gas prices and inflation and ordinary, everything's moving. And I know you wanted to talk about something very specific today.
Well, it's the Cantillon effect. You ever heard of that?
Yeah, of course. You talked about it.
Yeah, I did. And
that was the
went into effect.
Talked about Germany. What was that?
Well, no, he was a French economist, and essentially it basically said the money that's put out in the economy usually it benefits the people closest to the king. And he did a study on this in the 1700s.
Right.
And so what happened is the government did 2 things. It gave stimulus money, 400 billion only. I'm going to put finger quotes only at the bottom, right where the Cantelon would have gone down. But $4 trillion went up at the top. So the Cantelon effect. So they finally met. Essentially, there was an injection of money at the bottom, but 10 times the money at the top. And so the people closest to quote unquote the king, the hedge funds, let's just call it, the people who are oligarchs, if you will, in the United States, the money has finally trickled down, and all this money is caused supply and demand.
Right.
Right. And so that's what the Cantelon effect was predicting. But we're not going there. But what's interesting is now we've talked about that. We've talked about inflation, the Cantelon effect, all these things. And now here we are, Greg, where it's something that happened this weekend, the past 3 or 4 days, which everyone is talking about in the financial markets, which is the inverted yield curve.
Okay. You got to dumb this way down for me, Peter, because I don't understand anything you're talking about when you talk. I know you've talked about this before. You mentioned this yeah, I know, but you mentioned this to Peter Maluk. You mentioned this like a year ago. This was something that you've talked about.
Well,
so what's happened?
It is a predictor that has been the most accurate predictor of recessions for the last 60 years.
Okay.
It happened in 99. It happened in 2007, just to give people a reference and scope.
Okay.
And so what happens, Craig, is when the yield curve. So here, I'll just break it down real small. So here is a yield curve for take a 2-year bond. Okay.
Okay.
You would expect the yield is not very high because the shorter amount of time period that you're willing to risk as the guy who buys the bond, to get the government or whoever is the bond guarantor says, look, that's not that far along. That's not much risk for you. Therefore, your yield is not that great.
Okay.
Okay. Now, if I say, well, what about 10 years? They say, well, shit, a lot can happen in 10 years. There's a lot more risk.
I'm remembering this now.
Okay.
Yep.
So
the yields are better short term than long.
So
long term than
Yes. So when that chart flips, currently right now, today, the 3-month bond yields higher than the 10-year bond.
Got it.
So what this predicts, Craig, is that the market is pessimistic for the future. And this has predicted the last 9 recessions. And so why I bring this up, it's a big deal, is that what it says is once there's an inversion of the yield curve for at least 10 days, there is a 66% chance in the next 12 months that there will be a recession.
Oh my God, are we overdue for a correction?
And a
or recession?
98% chance there's one going to happen in the next 2 years. So basically everyone's putting their finger in the next 16 to 18 months. Essentially, there is going to be some kind of pullback.
But Peter, if I would have asked you this a year ago, we had conversations very personal conversations, you and I, 1 year ago this time. Remember those conversations, right, Peter? Mm-hmm. Remember how we were sure as shit that we were at the top of the market on everything? Mm-hmm. Remember a year ago?
Yes.
And here we are, we added in a year.
And guess what? We could still add in the next 6. We could add right up until then. It still could melt up.
Yeah, no, I know. And listen, the .com crash and the crash of the mid 2000s was predicted. It just didn't know when. They just didn't know when. So you can't predict the top.
And I think it's categorically different. I think the world, given what we also said, and we are, given what we just said about 40% of the money supply, the ingredients for this cake are not the same as 99 and 2007. So will there be some kind of pullback?
What's the ingredients?
Meaning there's so much more money. There's a different economic climate, right? We're facing things like rising interest rates. There's a whole lot of things going on. So 2 things are going on. The Fed has announced we are going to increase interest rates over the next there's going to be 9 more adjustments to the interest rates of probably 25 basis points or more over the next couple of years.
Yeah, to
slow the market.
Yeah.
So they are a one-trick pony that says, "Hey, inflation's out of control. We know it. We're reporting it at 9. It's probably 15."
Right. You just can't say that because it'll.
It'll ensue. It will ensue is the velocity of money to increase and too fast because people will then say, shit, I'm going to spend all my money because it's literally evaporating in my presence. Then the velocity increases, which means, me and you exchanging it back and forth to each other, buying goods increases, which then causes more inflation. So it's almost like they can't put the toothpaste back in the bottle at this point, but they're using all the tricks that they can. Congress is wanting to print more to stimulate out of it. The Fed, which is not a U.S. entity, by the way, is not a federally mandated program. The Fed is actually supposed to be an independent entity, is saying, no, we need to raise interest rates to slow down the economy. And then you've got things like inverted yield curves saying, guess what? There's going to be a recession coming regardless. But what does that recession look like given the aforementioned things that I just said, right? So it is a scary time, not scary. And it's scary.
It's a changing time.
But here's what I say. Look, whenever you get information like that, it's like, okay, I understand. But what's in it for me? What does this mean to me, the dentist? What does this mean to me, Peter Boulden, or you, Craig Spodak, or you, Bulletproof listener listening? It may mean nothing, but I said to myself, when I put all this data together, I said, this is probably going to be a time when I need to go head down and just build the business, grow and build the business, optimize the business, get head down, possibly expand, possibly not. But there are things that I won't be able to control. The stock market in the next 6 to 18 months, who knows where that ends up, Craig? But guess what? I have zero control over that, right? There's zero control over the tax rate.
Well, right. And also statistically speaking, you shouldn't get in or out of the market, you should actually stay the course. You should not try to time it. You should not try to go. I mean, statistically speaking, those who try to time the market don't do as well. But I just want to ask you a question, Peter. Sure. I would love to get your feedback on this. And I'm trying to be careful the way I ask it, because I don't want to shape it, and I don't want to put my biases out here. There are practices right now that are booming, right? Record months, record businesses. A lot of my friends in either dentistry or in business are literally breaking every record they've ever broken. The first quarter of this year was record for a lot of people.
Every one of my practices, Craig, broke the highest record ever last month. Every one of them. Okay,
so what would you? And I can't say that to my specific practice because of a doctor transition. But yes, we're busy. Right. And had we not lost anybody, it would have been amazing. Like we would have easily crushed those records as well. Mm-hmm. So I'm also hearing, Peter, some of my friends that are working dental practices and saying it's not that busy right now. I need to make a move. I'm not the practices. The schedule's falling apart. Things aren't going as well in certain dental practices. Are you more concerned because you feel like, let me ask you if you just agree with this statement, because I'm trying to be careful with it. Do you believe that this is a true statement? With things going really well globally on an economic level, if you have a practice or your practice is not doing as well, would that frighten you more for the coming correction?
Yes.
Okay. And then why?
Because I feel like if like you said, like you alluded to, and this is even outside of dentistry. Like I have friends who own car dealerships and friends who sell airplanes, and like you can't buy an airplane. So if you are not doing well in this quote unquote abundant time where successful nose to the ground operators or nose to the grindstone operators are crushing it everywhere you go, if you are not profiting in this scenario, I don't think it starts yielding better, in my opinion.
Got it. So you have, like, if you're doing okay right now, you're not killing it, but you're doing okay. You're worried about your business. It's okay, but it's not really expanding, growing, not really doing well over the last 3 months. What do you say to that person, Peter?
I say, okay, how will you fare with a 20% pullback
in your business?
In your business, meaning that I look back, I looked at my numbers. From 2007 or 6 to 2009, the effects of the financial crisis was about a 22% reduction from my revenues, right? I mean, that was the haircut. So if you can withstand that, and let's just assume, Craig, that the inverted yield curve is predicting that same thing that's going to happen in some capacity, whether it's who knows what it's going to be, a cyber attack, maybe the next crisis or something that's going to be the precipitous for that. Because obviously COVID, we had that pullback for COVID in March when the stock market got crushed. So there will be a precipitating factor. So if that happens, and are you okay with a 20% pullback?
Okay. So what if the answer is no, I'm not. No, I'm barely, right now it hasn't been good these last year, and specifically these last 3 months have been very difficult. What's your advice to that person?
Well, I would say are you losing market share? Are you flatlining, or are you losing market share, meaning active number of new patients, which is your market share, which is the value of your practice, essentially, is the number of active people. And I would say if you're losing that, if there's an attrition over time, and if it's trending to zero, then now may be a time to consider why interest rates are still somewhat low compared to what they could be, which means that valuations are high, right? There's an inverse relationship, Craig, with the valuation of your dental practice and interest rates. The lower the interest rates.
Where are you going? What are you saying to this person?
You're saying
to consider selling?
Yes.
Okay.
Or onboarding a partner, or looking for some kind of help, because acknowledging that you're not doing well in a climate where a lot of people are. I mean, wouldn't you agree, Craig? Every entrepreneur outside of dentistry, or even in dentistry, the people who are doing well in dentistry before this are crushing it now. Would you not agree?
Yes, but I just think that when people do well, yours truly included, we tend to blame ourselves for why we're doing well. And when we do poorly, we blame the economy. So I think a lot of people are fooling themselves to say like, oh, I'm the Bill Gates of dentistry. We're so busy, you know, but it's really, you know, point to everybody, all the restaurants down here, everybody is slammed. Slammed.
Restaurants, hotels
everything.
now,
personal trainers, hotels,
try to find
vacation,
an airline flight that's not full.
Disney World, airlines, everything. I don't know anyone that's not doing well.
So that's my point.
But I am hearing dental practices, some of them saying we're not doing well.
So that's fine. So either this is a come to Jesus moment for said person.
Okay.
Is everything else in a discretionary standpoint. And like you've always said, dentistry is discretionary except the extraction. Right. It's not medically necessary. Dentistry is discretionary. If everything else discretionary is crushing it, why aren't I? Why aren't I? Okay. And if I'm not, what am I going to change about the formula that I'm doing now? And I'm going to potentially be going into an uphill battle with this inverted yield curve. What am I going to do to insulate myself from the pullback if there is to be one? And if you don't have good answers for that,
sign up for the summit.
Sign up for no, if you
why not?
But okay, if you don't have good answers for that, whether you're going to change your marketing or onboard your team or whatever it is, then you need to find someone who can either you can hold hands and join forces with, or consider that like now may be the peak of where you are. And I'm not advocating for anyone to sell. I'm just saying, look, not acknowledging your options is just ignorant. Just ignorant. Right. To not say like, okay, this is what's coming. Get your head up out of the sand and say, okay, here are my options. I don't like where I am now. Probably not going to like it more in the next 18 months, given this data that if you look at the macro financial climate. So you're not going to like it more. So maybe now is a good time to consider onboarding a partner, or selling a fractional share of your practice, or getting a consultant to really help you,
or hang onto the helm too. Change on the helm and go through the storm too. That's kind of cool too.
Do what?
Hold on to the helm and go through the storm as well.
That's cool but Craig, let's just say that person doesn't have the war chest to grab onto the helm, as you say, and have fun going through the storm. It's not
the cash
fun to go through a storm when your boat has already got leaks in it. It's not
right.
Fun.
No, it's true. So you want to be you want to be ready. No, it's true. Good point.
So like make sure you have an emergency fund. That would be
so what happens. I wanted to bring it to that because I've heard of that. Now tell me, how does the inverse yield curve get corrected? What's the mechanism that points to going out of the storm? Or you don't have that information?
Well, interest rates have to rise, right? There has to be better yield created for a longer term money than the shorter term money. And so, but it's only a short period of time. Like I said, it only has to happen for 10 days. And so it's not going to be inverted forever. But when it is, it's a harbinger of kind of a foretelling of what's going to happen in the next, like I said, 6 to 18 months. But Craig, I want to make sure this is crystal clear for everyone. I am not saying that this is going to look like 2009. I'm actually not saying I know anything that's happening. I just know that history has proven time and time again that this happens. But will it look the same given that our money supply is 3 times the amount as it was as 2009? I don't know. I have none of the answers. And if I did, I sure as hell wouldn't be sitting here podcasting or running dental practices, right? If I knew what was going to happen, I'm just saying I'm trying to put all the pieces together just like you. So it's an interesting time. I think it's one of those times that you calibrate where you are. If you're happy, great. But form a strategy. Form a plan of what you're going to do, because this is what I do. I don't just gather information so that I can just hypothesize about sounding cool and knowing what I'm talking about. I gather information so that I can strategize about my next 5 moves. What does that look like? And if this happens, then I will do this. If this happens, then I will do this. It's always contingencies for me in the next 5 moves. Because having a plan and then getting punched in the face and then just stopping is like, that's not really a plan. You need to have contingencies to be able to bob and move and weave. So I don't know. That's kind of where I am, bud.
Yeah. I mean, for me, having gone through so many different times, I've always made moves in the down times personally. I've always been always excited when winter comes, because I mean, like, look at the move I made on the March 23rd in COVID 2020. I got scared, but I did it. I bought the largest position of the S&P I ever had in the face of it falling the furthest. You know, when you assets are the thing, when they go on sale, people run from them, which is so strange. You know, when Nikes go on sale or the Black Friday sales, people wait outside to buy. But when assets go on sale, everybody's like, they want to dump everything.
Yep.
So
when people get scared, they drop things, right?
And it's the best time to buy is when there's blood in it. Yeah.
The flight to cash.
Right.
Well, right. And that's another interesting thing. You know, like gold used to be the safe haven. And look, if you had invested in gold 10 years ago, you'd be down. You'd be down your money.
It's flat. It's flat.
You know, Bitcoin didn't perform the way I thought it would do as this safe harbor uncorrelated asset. Now we're in a different macro trend right now, so I think it will do really well going here forward. But like, it's just scary. Like you said, look, I get excited when winter's coming.
I do. Maybe that was because last time winter came, I was younger, but now I do agree that it's, for me, when everybody's going one way, I want to go the opposite way. I think it's an important time, you know, from a personal standpoint, to have cash.
The good thing is, Craig, here's one good thing.
Having dry powder can be helpful. Here's
one good thing I see about the difference between, let's say, potentially now and 2007, 8, 9, there was a crisis in the real estate market, right? Commercial and otherwise. And, you know, and that was because of the whole, you know, everyone should be a homeowner. That was the American dream. And they made the legislation so that people unfortunately took advantage of that situation. Dogs were getting homes and cash back at closing and things like that. Literally dogs' names. They weren't doing any credit checks, nothing. You've all seen, what's that? The Big Short. They fixed that. And so you still, meaning it didn't revert back. And yes, to get a home, you don't need as much money as you did right after 2009. But like, commercial properties are probably going to be still sound. So it's not going to look like this on sale stuff like what the housing crisis was in 2009, especially given like I said, the amount of currency in the market. So
what's Michael Burry saying right now? What the guy from The Big Short, Michael Burry, what's he saying now? Is he a Bitcoin maximalist? I don't know.
No, he's definitely not a Bitcoin maximalist. He actually predicted. He's been wrong so many times since then. I think that was his one.
Yeah.
He's been, I mean, he literally got lucky one time. And look, he got lucky big, but like, it doesn't, you know, being right one time doesn't make you the prognosticator that just, you know, Nostradamus of financial information. So I don't know. I think like I'm beating this down to the horse. I just think, I think I wanted to talk about this because I think awareness is really cool for people. And I think awareness brings things that we may have mentioned something that someone listening may not have known about was even exist. And it may have piqued their curiosity to then dig in. And now they can protect them and their family potentially by learning and just becoming aware of things outside of the dental office that may affect the things inside the dental office. Right? And how are you what is your plan to insulate? If there's a pullback, what is your plan? If there's a melt up, what's your plan? If nothing happens, what is your plan? You know, so that's it. But I agree with you too, Craig, that recessions, quote unquote, are an excellent time for expansions if that's the time you're wanting to do, because everyone coils up in those times, shrinks up, and they grab onto their assets and they hold them tight.
Yeah, the reason why the reason why a lot of advertisers suspend their budgets from TV right around the Super Bowl is because that's the most premium time. You're not going to compete, or political seasons, you can't compete with the political parties. So it's just funny that when the herd goes one way, we always tend to just go the same way. This is a time when you can look at, if we do go through it, you know, or I shouldn't say if, or when we go through it, to recognize that your voice will go further, your advertising dollars will go further, your expansion will go further. I remember during the crisis, there was a little
go further. You're saying it'll go further because there are people sitting on the sidelines.
Yeah,
the game still has to be played. but people are going to sit on the sidelines. So,
and a lot of it is psychological defeat, by the way. Peter, I remember going to this little place we used to go, sandwich shop, and I used to love it. This was like 2008, 9, whenever the crash was. And we got hit particularly hard in Florida. But I remember going to this place. It was some little cafe here in downtown Delray. And I remember going there and always really enjoying everything, and enjoying the service and enjoying the responsiveness of the team and all that stuff. And then I went there during the recession, and the guy's like really busy and he can't keep up with everything. And I'm like, well, what's going on here? He's like, well, with the recession, I wanted to lay off a couple of my people. I was like, well, did you find your business being down? He goes, no, but I was reading in Wealth Magazine and strategies for a recession. And so he preemptively shrank in anticipation of a perception that his knees would go down. And he literally effed his business up.
That is not the move. But, I don't think you take action until you have evidence of one way or the other. But it is nice to just, like I said, and this is the third time I've said it, is a plan is probably necessary to be created. And that's why, honestly, Craig, the things that you're passionate about, your vision, and helping people create their vision and their true authentic self, and like digging into that in our mastermind. And I know you're doing a big track on that at Summit. It's really important because we always talk about the North Star. And if you know your North Star, right, and you know where you want to go, and you know your true purpose, and all these things, and you get hit by these bullets, so to speak, you can still look up and be like, all right, well, it doesn't matter. There's a recession here, there's a recession in 99, there's money, blah, blah, blah. I don't really care because here's where I'm headed, and this is what I really, really want to do.
Well, it's the very definition of being bulletproof. Bulletproof implies you're being shot at. They hit you. They deflect. So being bulletproof is persisting through the face of adversity. It's not about not going through adversity. I mean, geez, that's what makes us all happy is the adversity. We're not meant to be living safe lives. In fact, we're too safe these days. That's why I think a lot of people aren't happy. Life is too cushy right now. We're actually making it harder. Human beings are making it hard on themselves right now because it's just, in some ways, if you were dropped off. I mean, I was listening to Joe Rogan the other day, and he's like talking, if you were just dropped off 1,000 years ago, you'd probably end your life. You'd probably look at the way you're living. You wouldn't be able to handle it. 1,000 years ago, people, dying by sword, and there's a feudal law system.
I would have thrived.
Well, who knows? I mean, we'd be well past our prime in 1,000 years ago. But all I'm saying is it's not that adversity shouldn't come your way. It's just that you persevere through it. And I think that's the very core about what being bulletproof is just to be able to face adversity, go through it, and come up better for it.
Right, just think of all the splinters you would have gotten in 1,000 years ago. And
I know.
Look at this splinter I got.
Yeah, what was that a reference to? Like my hands when I was wakeboarding.
Yeah, no, you're at my lake house, and you're like, I can't
hold the rope
because I got a splinter on your porch. Look at this.
No. My hand was cut open. It was a blister. You can't tell the people the medicament you recommended I use. Being a medical doctor, don't say what it was. But it was not something that a dentist normally prescribes. At least not in my practice. I never prescribed.
It's an over-the-counter medicament for a
topical cream. Yeah, and it was not flattering, and it didn't work. By the way, I applied it.
Did not work. The funny part is, you actually tried. Said, this isn't working.
I know I didn't try it. Yeah. So guess what I'm excited about? I was doing this morning, working on the Summit presentation.
No way.
Yeah, Chris Ramsey, Rob Ritter, Jenny Perna, Uchi Odiatu. Sounds Japanese.
He confirmed?
He did.
Dude, Uchi's, I saw him at Hinman and
standing room only.
How'd you know that?
Because he never freaking speaks. I've never had a seat at one of his events. It's always standing room only.
Literally, like, if it wasn't for him, I mean, him and the dancing dentist, what was his name that we had?
Constantine. Yeah,
Constantine. I got to meet him, and he's a cool dude. That's coming out. That pod's coming up. But like, he had standing room and Uchi. And Uchi was kind of next to the Bulletproof, the pod thing they gave us.
Yeah.
And I could see like just everyone just standing and hooping and hawing. And like, I don't know Uchi, never heard him speak.
Oh, he's badass, bro.
I'm really, and even my office manager's like, you have to get proximity. You have to talk to Uchi. He's amazing. And I was like, he was the keynote speaker at the, I don't even want to represent, I don't even know what it is. He's been. Wait, so keep going down the talent. I love it. Ramsey Ritter, obviously just
separately,
OGs,
by the way, because they both have
in our field.
Yeah. OGs. They both have individual tracks. Yogi Dentist. Uchi's up there. He's going to be doing a keynote for us, and he doesn't know it yet, but he's going to be doing a track as well. Such a badass. I'm just excited about it because it's all new content. And
you know who else is coming? Actually, listen to this.
Someone I don't know.
You know how Nathan French, talks about
yeah,
videos. Bo is coming this year. Bo is my videographer, who's actually decided to go on to other endeavors because he's blowing up so much, which is great. Like I actually was really happy for him that he wanted to leave us because it means his life is expanding.
Tens of millions of followers on TikTok.
Yeah,
you can't be the videographer of a dental practice when
you can't. And I didn't want him to be that forever, so I'm happy that he spread his wings.
But you can't be a hygienist and work with Oprah.
Well, Greg, he got us a video on TikTok of the practice that I think I told you. Now it has 67 million views. He did it from the point of view of a 7-footer. And so he's actually going to be coming to teach some kind of tips and tricks for TikTok of like how to do things as a videographer, but also as a talent, and really help dentists kind of go next level. So, putting him and Nate together, about Nate talking about doing tons of video production and then creating awareness on that video production, and then Bo looking from an organic standpoint on how to kind of frame things. It's a star-studded event, Greg.
I know.
You and I are literally just going to be sitting in the back, like wondering what the hell to talk on.
No, that's not true.
I don't know, bud.
You know me. I'm never short of words.
No.
But I am excited to have that event. I am excited to see what unfolds for this for the economy too. I mean, listen, we get a lot of feedback about what we're doing, but nothing matters more than reading your comments. I know Peter and I both read them. So if you agree with us, please comment below. If you vehemently disagree, we want your counterpoint. We really would love counterpoints to everything we say. So if there's something that Peter or I just said that you're like, that is totally bullshit.
And especially to stand correcting, meaning like we don't stand to be the ones who are the know-it-alls. Like you corrected yourself on that Howard Fran comment.
Yeah, I had no idea. I've never done his dental MBA thing. And who am I to speak? I just heard that he said that. So this is not just a monologue; it's a dialogue with our community, and that's what makes it powerful. Not only what we do on the Mighty Network, but if you're seeing this on YouTube or whatever, please comment below as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm excited for that, and yeah, dude, there's so much fun going on, and we'll save some of these. Hey, by the way, my biohacks, my 1 through 4 biohacks podcast are coming out soon. Cool. That I told you I wanted to fly on because you would have been like, what the hell's wrong with you? So hopefully I don't let you down, buddy, when you listen to me. You would lose me. I'm just like, just give me the goddamn. No, it'd be cool. The first one's on sleep, and it's such a powerful one. It's such a good one, and sleep and diet and biohacks and longevity.
Are you wearing your Aura ring right now, by the way?
I am.
Me too. Shout out to Aura Ring. Not that they sponsor us or anything like that.
They do not sponsor us. But that's coming out, and that's just going to be a bonus episode because I look, it's not lost. I told Lacey, I was like, look, it's not lost on me that this is a dental podcast. We're not trying to get into be economists or biohackers or whatever, but I think it's really cool because oh my gosh, great score. Good for you. You know why you have that score, by the way?
Why?
Not because of gummies. Because
no, but what's readiness of 92 mean? What does that mean?
It means you are ready to roll. So Aura is an excellent sleep monitor. It's really shitty, in my opinion.
Are you going to talk about HRV and all that shit?
HRV is great. HRV, right?
Like during your biohack thing? Because I don't even understand.
No, I didn't talk about that because there's no need to. But that is an indication of your readiness. But your readiness, it means you are ready to tackle the day.
Yeah, it just says I have a 92 optimal readiness.
92 is like a great goal. But you also probably have enhanced that tremendously, Craig, by some of the other tips I've given you. And I'm sure from that chili pad. The chili pad is a
I'm not using the chili pad. My chili pad leaked.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it's freaking leaked, bro. It leaked all over my bed. They sent me a new one. I just haven't set up.
It sounds like user error to me.
What the hell do I do on my bed that would cause it to leak?
You just didn't snap the components in right.
No, I snapped that shit
upside down.
No. It was working for a long time. No, so anyway,
did you get a replacement?
Yeah, they sent me a replacement. Just haven't put it on yet.
All right.
Yeah, I'm not using the chili pad, but I do.
The biggest hack that I've made, I don't want to spoil the thing, is I'll give you a hint on why to listen to this, is that the biggest disruptor of your sleep is your iPhone. And I won't tell you why.
Yes.
But you probably know.
Yeah, you've told me. You've told me.
Blue light. It suppresses your melatonin secretion by 3 hours.
I know.
And I give ways in that pod on how to, because I like to chill on my phone right before bed and look at things.
Not as much as I do, man.
Counteract it. I know you're hot and heavy on the socials. Right before bed.
Yeah, I'm on like Dental Disrupt Nation, like literally writing a response and then deleting it. Like when people are like, dentistry sucks and people don't show up for their interviews.
It's the hygienist's fault.
It's the hygiene. These girls are terrible.
There's blood on their hands. There's blood on their hands.
Oh yeah, remember that one? Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Just like it's like watching terrible. Anyway, shout out to everybody trying to improve dentistry. They're all doing it in their own way.
Yeah. Well, okay. All right, everybody. We'll see you next time on the Bulletproof Podcast.